What's the most unbelievable injury you've ever seen someone survive? I was working a night shift in the ER when paramedics came through the doors with a 22-year-old construction worker. He had fallen 6 stories off a scaffold and landed on a piece of rebar, which went straight through his abdomen and out his lower back. It was still in him when they wheeled him in, about 3 feet of metal sticking out from both sides. I've seen bad injuries before, but this one made the entire trauma bay freeze for a second. The kid was ghost pale and bleeding out fast. His vitals were circling the drain, but somehow, he was still awake, still talking. First thing he asked was, "Am I gonna die?" I looked him in the eye and said, "We're doing everything we can." The surgical team was already sprinting in, prepping the OR. We didn't have time to sedate him or get full imaging. We just stabilized as best we could and got him under the lights. But what happened next still feels like something out of a movie. When we finally got a look at the x-rays, we couldn't believe what we were seeing. That piece of rebar had threaded through his body like a needle through cloth without hitting a single major organ. It missed his spine by a whisper, didn't touch his liver, kidneys, lungs, or heart. It somehow navigated through the chaos of the human body without killing him on the spot. The surgeons were stunned. One of them actually said, "If I tried to guide this through with my hands, I couldn't have done it better." That wasn't to say he was out of danger. We spent the next 8 hours in surgery removing the rebar and repairing the surrounding tissue. Even though it hadn't pierced anything major, the trauma and blood loss were still life-threatening. He coded twice on the table. Both times, we got him back. The ICU was ready the moment we rolled him out. He spent weeks there, fighting off infection, fluid buildup, and multiple complications. There were nights we didn't think he'd make it. His family barely left the hospital. He was intubated, on and off dialysis, sedated more often than not. But every time he came to, he kept trying to talk. The guy wanted to live. Slowly, against every odd we'd calculated, he started to recover, step by step. First he could sit up, then he could eat, then he could breathe on his own. After 2 months, he took his first steps. Shaky, but standing. By 3 months, he was out of ICU. By 4, he was discharged. 6 months after the accident, during a completely normal Tuesday night shift, I was called to the front desk. There he was, standing, walking, smiling. He looked like a different person. His color was back. His hair had grown in. He had a little scar above his eyebrow, and he moved carefully, but he was there. He thanked every single one of us, brought cookies, handwritten cards. He said he didn't remember most of the surgery or the ICU stay, but he remembered being told, "We're doing everything we can." Said it gave him hope when everything else was pain and fear. He lifted his shirt and showed me the scar, the entry and exit wounds now mostly healed. Just above it was a tattoo, a simple outline of a steel rebar with the date of the accident underneath. That was it. He told me he'd gone through months of physical therapy, had a couple follow-up surgeries to reinforce his abdominal wall, but he was doing well. No permanent nerve damage, full organ function. A year later, I heard from one of his therapists that he'd gone back to construction work. I couldn't believe it at first, but apparently that's exactly what he did. Said he couldn't imagine doing anything else.